This week on Happily Ever After, we catch up with Ed and Liz, who are magically no longer toxic.
So after our big fight, Liz and I, we've done quite a bit of serious work on a relationship, and we're going to therapy to help get us back to where we used to be.
You guys remember when their relationship was really good and healthy and there was a lot of mutual respect?
This is kind of how we normally are, joking around, where I realize how much I cherish him.
Sure, guys, this is the real them, and what we saw before was the fake them.
Hello.
Bye.
Liz looks super uncomfortable, like she's smiling, but her body language makes me feel like she doesn't really want to do this. This reminds me of an interview that she did with John J. Walters about a year ago, and she did this interview and totally spilled the tea on Ed when they were broken up. If you haven't watched this video, I left a link in the description box below so you can go check it out for yourself. In the segment I'm going to play for you, Liz talks about the pressure Ed put on her to film and how to film.
We got into a full-on, not like fist fight or anything, but the way he talks to me, he's like, we need to do this for the show, we need to do this, like, we need to film at the beach. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm not filming at the beach, I don't feel confident in myself. It was a fight.
A fight that Ed won because here she is in this bathing suit that he bought for her at the beach, even though she doesn't feel comfortable being on camera with a bathing suit on. And again, we saw Ed criticize how she'd gained weight, and here she is taking off her clothes in front of a camera, and I guarantee you it was the same argument that she had about this bathing suit.
We're gonna massage each other and, hopefully end up in bed again.
The way he talks about sex has always kind of felt strange to me. He kind of brags about his performance and what happened, and it just feels very immature and uncomfortable.
Liz has a freaky side. It gets the engines a revving.
These are all great things, but unless Liz said that it's okay to openly talk about how she is in bed, this is a huge violation of her privacy. And I doubt that he really cares about how she's feeling, about how he's talking about their sex life.
Liz is a strong, independent, beautiful, wonderful woman. I've never felt like this for anybody.
What he's saying feels hollow. It sounds hollow. It sounds like it's like he has different iterations of himself in a relationship. He has the abusive part, and then he has like this kind of like honeymoon-ish type phase where it's either black or white. It's either Liz is the worst person in the world, she's trashy, she's a drinker, she's out of control, or she's the best thing that I've ever had, and she's amazing, and she's perfect, and she's great. And he vacillates between these two very black and white places, rather than understanding that people are complicated and people are not perfect. It's just this very immature way of being, of thinking.
You're rubbing really good.
Oh, this poor dog and what this dog is saying. I'm so sorry, little guy. Did you hear what Liz just said? You're rubbing really good. Wow. Which tells you they've been together for a year and a half, off and on, all the breakups. And he's rubbing in a way that is kind of surprising to her. If your partner is good at massages, you should know that already. You shouldn't have to have a camera crew and a national television show to find out.
I think it's cute when Ed is willing to be vulnerable.
You're so sweet. What's your name? Are you single?
My fiance's taken, but I'm single.
I see.
On the surface, this seems like a fine interchange. It seems playful. Except notice that Liz is the one who's laughing. Ed is not laughing. And we already know that Ed has a huge insecurity issue where he thinks that Liz is going to cheat on him to the point where he limits how much she's working. He has a curfew for her to come back at 11. He doesn't want her hanging out with friends or going out drinking. And acting out this stuff is just putting into Ed's head this role play. This is what would happen if somebody wanted Liz, and this is how she would respond to it. This is not a smart thing to do if you're having an insecure situation, and I feel like this is going to create more problems because he can imagine what she's going to say in this hypothetical situation because they act it out all the time. This is not the only time that he's done this. Specifically, are you single? And then her response to it. I'm going to play the end of the exchange again and note that he is not laughing. and Liz is.
My fiance's taken, but I'm single.
I see. I like my chest hair, but I don't like my back hair. So I'll let you wax my back, which will be very painful.
I am excited to inflict a little bit of pain.
Ow! Ow!
He's no Meryl Streep, and he's definitely not going to win an Emmy for that. What is it with these reality shows always putting in some sort of like disgusting hygiene things? I swear, 40-Year-Old Virgin did it first. It was so funny because it hadn't been done before, but it has been done to death.
Let's go shower.
I acknowledge here too that I'm not really ready to go and like watch them joke around and have fun, because we've been seeing both of them be pretty nasty to one another this whole time. And so it almost feels like we're being manipulated right now. That's how I'm feeling anyway. I feel really manipulated. It's like, you guys can't fight the way that you fight and then expect us to just forget it. It feels like we're all in a relationship with Ed right now. Ugh, and I don't like that. So this is supposedly the same day, but if we look at the wine rack in the back of this shot and contrast it with the last scene, there's tons of wine still on there. So, man, if they're drinking that much, no wonder why they're fighting all the time. And they talked about there being alcohol issues in the past, and that definitely can add to conflict in relationships.
Definitely, before you walk down the aisle, that you know who you're marrying, like everything about them.
So on the surface, this all seems really reasonable, doesn't it? Like if your friend said this to you, like, I want to really get to know my partner before we walk down the aisle, you wouldn't have alarm bells going off. But because we have background information and we've seen kind of the cycle that they go through, what he means when he says this is that he has this feeling of inadequacy that ends up distorting what he's seeing to fit the paradigm of his insecurity, which is she's going to cheat on him, she's going to lie to him, she's going to leave him. That's his paradigm, right? So very simple things like an argument with a friend turns into there were lovers. So I'm walking away from what he's saying feeling that clearly nothing has changed. You can pretend like you're happy, you can pretend like everything's different, but dealing with the core stuff isn't going to change overnight. And he's still operating from that place.
Going back to my hometown in Arkansas, see if my sister Christine would throw us an engagement party.
Liz's face just says it all. Like, she doesn't want to have to deal with this. She looks exhausted. She looks drained, and I don't blame her. She doesn't feel like she can say no. I don't know why. And he's saying, I want to make it up to you. It's like, oh my God, you just had the worst night where you guys broke up. Why are you rushing to have an engagement party when you just got back together? This is kind of him though. He gets on that fast track, and if things aren't moving forward, I think it makes him feel insecure. So he's constantly trying to push things to move forward so that he feels less secure. But it always ends up blowing up in their faces.
It's an opportunity to grow, and make our relationship stronger. I want this one filled with love and drama-free.
That's exactly what they said about the first one. And I think if they don't want drama, neither one of them should go. One of them should opt out, and then the evening will be fine. Because they are the common denominator when it comes to drama.
Briefly, but
What are you worried about?
I don't really know what they think of us. I don't know if I want to know what they think of us. I think you just need to understand it's going to be me against everyone with no friend, no family, no anything.
Baby, if I thought you had something to worry about, we wouldn't be going.
We're still kind of like recovering from the last engagement party. Being negative, it can really get into his head. And I don't think we can survive something like that.
It'll be fun.
Liz is just kind of being dragged around by her nose, essentially. Like, he's setting the pace. He decides what happens. You can tell by looking at her that she doesn't want to do this, that she's uncomfortable with it. But she, I think, has gotten worn down so much that she knows she doesn't have the energy to fight him all the time. And so she just kind of throws her hands up and allows him to pull her onto this roller coaster. And eventually she's going to have to get to the place where she is done and she puts a stop to everything. I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he's interested in changing. And what we're seeing with his behavior is that it's still all the same. They're being nice to each other for one episode. Let's keep that in mind. But who knows what's going to end up happening in the next episode or the one after that. And when being kind to one another is an oddity in a relationship, it's just a really bad sign. That's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Please like and subscribe. It makes a huge difference to me. It does not cost you a cent. Have a great week.